Thanks, Tom. Should add one more remark here. All the student review was done before they received the grade. So it's fair, objective, no bribery or anything. Okay. So, okay. Many of us actually know Charles as a friend, colleagues, and co-workers, a teacher. Okay. But we know then professionally, socially, coming by asked to be actually the MC, I actually did some study of Charles through internet, through different channels. And I was thrilled to find out there's a part of Charles that we don't know, at least I don't know, and would like to share with you today. So let me actually start to see if this works. Okay, yeah. So previously we see the child was very young as Chancellor Kosler comment, and here's the younger one. Okay. And the next one is actually, he was born in Taiwan into a family. And here, this is I got from internet. Okay, so I'm not sure Charles knows that. So first of all, this is his grandparent. And by the way, his grandfather is actually the most well-regarded doctor in Taiwan over more than half a century, the very first medical doctor in Taiwan. 3 generations of doctors call his grandfather, a mentor. And so Charles was born into a family. He's supposed to be a doctor, which should be actually School of Medicine, not here, engineering. But for some reason, we are here, and we are going to share with you why. And now the thing is, I tried to guess, apparently Charles has 2 siblings, and which one is Charles? And it turns out I made the right guess. Okay, because the picture was provided by his older brother, and his older brother said the one on the right is him, and I know that the other is sister, so now by exclusion, I know this is Charles, and you can see the smile is really in his face. Okay, that didn't change after many, many years. And then grade 10, he moved to Alabama in 65. Okay, and that grade 10 in American system, that's high school, right? So his high school, and then he moved to Canada in 1 year. So he must be very adaptive to all the new environment and adventures, as you will see later on. And then he actually, after graduating Edmonton, I believe that's Alberta or someplace in Canada, and attend McGill University, majoring in physics. Okay, so now we know that at this point he won't be a medical doctor; he will be a physicist. And eventually, he chose to study high energy physics in Yale University in 1971. So moved from U.S. to Taiwan to U.S. to Canada, back to U.S., and then study high energy physics at the Stanford Linear Acceleration Center, SLAC, for 2 years. Okay, so here we're supposed to actually be from physics department or school of, or basically college of science. But it turns out it's not, because after 2 years study high energy physics, he changed his mind and decided to study something smaller. The other facility actually covers Mars Lam, and this is actually a smaller machine. So he would decide to study surface science and move himself to Department of Engineering and Applied Science. And that basically shows how Charles migrated from potentially medicine to high energy physics to engineering. And that's why we are here in School of Engineering to celebrate his retirement. And after he received his Ph.D. in 78, he actually spent 2 years at Yale and actually joined AT&T Bell Laboratories in 1980. For those of us actually over 50 years old would know that this is the place to do research. You will find a lot of brilliant people, and luckily Charles met Dr. L. Cho, who is considered the inventor and father of molecular beam epitaxy, that made a huge impact in the whole field of semiconductor, both materials and devices, and so on. Okay, And Charles also met his first boss. I recall this is the only boss if Tron didn't mind to consider be Charles' boss, and Charles has only one boss here, that's Dr. Xingchen Pei. And Stephen Pei was the department head at AT&T Bell Laboratories, and basically Charles worked in his department growing MBE, high-speed MOSFET, or we call it high electron mobility transistor. And then we all know that in '88, Charles came to UCSD, making another major move in his career, starting the MBE program at UCSD, particular gas source MBE, which is extremely toxic and dangerous thing, so make everyone very alert about his research. Okay. And then become the department chair, and then become the associate dean of school engineering. So this is actually the journey of life that I study through the internet and so on. Okay, I hope they're correct. And then Charles provided me a few pictures. Apparently the picture he's most proud of. He wanted everyone to see it. Okay, and this is the best moment to see this picture. 71, he graduated from McGill University. Okay, young, ambitious, and innocent, right? And this is a picture when you work at Bell Laboratory. The person on the right, Dr. Pei, Stephen Pei, will be one of our speakers. And when I look at this, and this year is '86, I wonder, that time, I don't think Bell Lab people will put ties in research, so it must be some special event. So, but anyway, that's actually the Bell Lab days. Now, very quickly about his professional life, this is his setup, experiment at UCSD. This is actually the famous gas source MBE that we all pay a lot of attention to check all the valves and all the gas sensors to make sure that alarm never triggered. And this is his group. Okay, even though Charles didn't want to be a doctor, but other than the cap, it really looked like doctors. Okay, this is a moment of honor. Okay, he was awarded the honorary degree, Ph.D. degree from Linköping University in Sweden. And I hope UCD will also have the podium like this. And Charles is certainly, I've never seen Charles dressed like this, but certainly is very admirable. And San Diego Union Tribune actually congratulate Charles too for his accomplishment as receiving the honorary degree, and particularly mentioned his longtime collaboration with Professor Wei-Ming Chen, who will also be speaking today. And together they published over 150 papers together. So that simply tells us distance is never an excuse or a reason not to collaborate. And now we talk very quickly about the Charles leadership. You know that he is being the department chair from 1999 to 2003. And over his tenure, he grew the ECE faculty from 39 to 50, 11 faculty members. And after Charles, another 15 years, ECE grew from 50 to 61, 11. And of course, we honored to have both our chancellor, our dean, to become counted as our ECE faculty, because they are. And Charles certainly spearheaded the growth, the fastest growth moment for the ECE as a department. And here, his interest in promoting undergrad research. So research is not a privilege for graduate students. It's also undergrad start to sense and research. And Charles particularly good at making acronyms. Like Eureka. I never be able to figure out how Eureka match undergrad research. And he found ECE undergrad research conference and assembly. And this he emphasized it has to be spelled as K, because otherwise it wouldn't be Eureka, it will be a Eureka, California. Okay. And he also created a alumni club, and he actually, I think this is actually the most impressive one. In my whole career, my whole life at UCSD, I never received any free lunch other than Charles. Charles actually gave all his faculty every Monday a free lunch ticket to Canyon Vista. Okay, so this is true free lunch It's not actually any committee assignments or any additional work. So it's true free lunch. That's really good. In addition, he also had a one-on-one lunch with every single staff member through his tenure. So I counted roughly he has about 250 lunches, all paid by the department one way or another, which is really very nice. Okay. And Tron is here, that's why I mentioned this. I think this is some point that we like our future chairs to take into account. Okay. And all the things as an associate dean, Elle has actually highlighted all the things. This is incredible to grow the program over 500 students, and of course Cosmos. I should particularly actually mention that Bill Wilson, our former California State First Lady, was here making this program possible, and Charles is basically in charge of, responsible for the UCSD part of the program, also the TIES and other program, and also talk about this ABET, which is actually a formidable task, and Charles did. And finally, Charles is certainly not a person. He is less serious than he looks. He has a lot of humor, very relaxed, and very adventurous. And here shows that this is scuba diving picture. This is Charles. I look at I asked actually my colleagues in image processing, is this Charles? And they confirmed that all the features match, so it is Charles. Okay, because this is all taken from internet places, right? And this is whitewater rafting, and certainly he is a very active participant in this boat, in this raft. And next, that remind me, yes, he did actually live in Canada for a long time, but also he still have the California spirit. So these are snow. I checked, it's basically a same picture taken. This is Charles. And there's a lot more outdoor activities that is not recommended. I remember one time I met Charles on campus on crutches and said, what happened? He said that he actually tries, skydiving. And I said, that's very risky. He said, yes, but he get himself hurt, but he didn't provide that picture for skydiving. Yeah, because that shows basically Charles has a good spirit, adventurous, and have a lot of fun. And finally, I like to say that Charles is a person, he like and care friends, students, people around him, and therefore he's so well liked by friends, family, friends, and students. That's why we are all here to celebrate Charles' retirement. I hope that now you have some additional idea about how Charles lived as a person from childhood to this day. He is certainly a person with humanity, intelligence, good sense of humor, and first, above all, fun to be with all the time. Thank you. So the next one, I'd like to introduce our speaker, Dr. A.Y. Cho. Al Cho, actually for anyone who has ever been working or related to semiconductor device material, he didn't need to be introduced at all. Okay. But nonetheless, I try to do it. Then I'm in the dilemma. If I do it, it takes 15 minutes. So that's why I actually have to. I cannot remember all the things, so I have to bring this one. But I will actually give you a highlight of the highlight to make that condense that to 1 minute introduction to Dr. Cho. He received his Ph.D. From U of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, and joined Bell Laboratories in '68. Okay, that's the place he invented the molecular beam epitaxy field as a machine, as a tool for scientific research, as a very powerful tool for all the semiconductor devices and material research, commercialization, and eventually help to build today's industry in semiconductor, particularly compound semiconductor. And Dr. Cho joined AT&T Bell Lab as a member of technical staff, and he retired. And then when he retired as a semiconductor research vice president at the AT&T Bell Laboratories, he has made many contributions and received many, many awards. Here, when I say many, I mean many. So I will just pick up a few of them. He received from all the search, he's the only person that received the President's Medal of Science and National Medal of Technology from 2 presidents of the United States. Medal of Science from President Clinton, Medal of Technology from President Bush. And also, in '94, he's awarded with the IEEE Medal of Honor. And I remember that was a time when Professor Lester Eastman at Cornell mentioned that, one problem is that he wasn't an IEEE member that time. And so there was a little discussion how to make him a member and quickly advance him to a fellow, and eventually we can give him the IEEE Medal of Honor. Okay. And then he also regarded internationally. For example, received the Computer and Communication Prize of the CNC Foundation in Japan, and also the first nanotechnology international prize in Russia. Okay, and there's so many of them, which I wouldn't repeat. He's elected to be the member of National Academy of Science, member of National Academy of Engineering, and the Several Academy of Science, also the member of Academia Sinica in Taiwan, and the Chinese Academy of Science as a foreign member. So let's welcome Dr. Al Cho to the stage.